All right, Jonathan Mayhew, I just want to get your testimony as to what you think of the direction being taken by the New England Fisheries Management Council.
All right, my name's Jonathan Mayhew. I own the fishing vessel Quitsa Strider 2. Started fishing in 1972 after graduating from Mass Maritime. Grew up here, 12 generations. Basically, I owned the Quitsa Strider initially. It was a 53-foot steel, multi-species, scalloper, sword fishing boat, depending on the season. And in the 70s and 80s, we traditionally would go dragging, and when dragging stocks decreased or scallops increased, we went scalloping, sword fishing in the summer. And the general direction in those days, at one point there was at least 3 boats that were shell stocking here in the wintertime, sea scallops, pollock rip. We employed probably 30 shuckers in the winter, which was very good income for the islanders. And the old timers came out and shucked, and we would bring in over 1,000 bushels a trip from pollock rip. I have a lot of history of catching scallops, and in fact the Quitsa Strider 2 that I bought in 1990 was at one point a full-time scalloper. As it presently stands right now, I have on my Quitsa Strider 2, I have a 400-pound trip limit that I can't afford to run a 72-foot boat on, and now I'm being probably told that because I don't have enough general category landings, that I may lose the ability to catch even 400 pounds. I find it highly disappointing that I have lost the ability, any flexibility in fishing, and the port has as well. We have no ability to jump when the stocks are down. The guys who got rewarded, the ones who stayed on and pounded, and the guys who got off and fished on other stuff are now forced to be ground fishermen, and so now we're forced to stay into a fishery that's depleted, and only 46 or 48 days a year that I'm allowed to go fishing, and I'm watching big scallopers making multi-million dollars, and I have no ability to do it whatsoever and stay legal. And it's very, very disappointing. And if you look around, we got the last 2 boats here, and we can't go out and catch 400 pounds and make a living going the distances that we're going with 72-foot boats. And I find it very disappointing that you guys make these regulations, but you don't look at the unintended consequences of what it does to small ports like Menemsha, Provincetown, ports up in Maine. It's all going to the big business. My boat, I can't even afford to keep it here. I have to fish out of New Bedford because I get charged for days at sea, steaming with my product to New Bedford to sell it on the groundfish issue. I have no ability to go scalloping. I've got scallop rakes, and I have history, but the history is the wrong. You pick the years where there's the least amount of boats, and if you properly manage this, you would be, you guys have the theory that we're overcapitalized. We still have capital construction funds where it all started, and we never had any money to shelter, so we had to go and mortgage our houses to get boats to keep up with the growth in fleets. You still got the capital construction funds. You created this mess, and now your deal is to put the small guys out of business and the small ports out of business. I find it very discouraging and time consuming to go to meetings, and I feel like when I go, I'm just talking to the wall. So that's basically how I feel. Properly managed, none of these boats have to go out of business, and I think you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. So I'll leave it at that. But I would like to see a little bit of room for the small harbors where we get a chance to have some of the action, and not just in groundfish, but also in the sea scallop. You've taken our flexibility away from us. We got guys here with tub trawling for codfish, lobster in the summertime, tub trawl in the winter. They've got 5 days of ground fishing days. How's the guy going to go make a living on 5 days? It's ridiculous. And you're just literally, I'm sure you didn't do it on purpose, but the law of unintended consequences has caused us to go out of business, and the small harbors are really suffering. And I hope you change your direction and make it more accessible for guys to go back to sea scalloping that have long histories of sea scalloping, and not say, well, oh gee, you didn't catch any 400-pound general category. Well, 400 pounds, I can't run my boat. So I don't know how you can look yourselves in the mirror in the morning the way things are going here. Thank you.
A fisherman from Menemsha, and I just like to say that I'm tired of seeing the corporate boats getting the big slice of everything. The government backs them. The limited entry boats are taking everything, and you take the day boats, the 400-pound guys, and they're trying to take them out of everything. They don't want them involved in it. They want to put them out of business. I got to tell you, the economies in the fishing industry are all driven by the small boats, not by these big boats. You know, wipe out everything. You're taking a part away from America. It's all built on the small guys, the small family-run boats. The government's got to get their act together and stop backing corporate boats. It's wrong. Thank you.
Thanks, John. John, do you have any record of public service?
Yes, I served in the United States Coast Guard from 1974 to 1978. I was a coxswain right here at Menemsha Coast Guard Station. And I was proud of my service, but once again, this is not what it's about. And the Coast Guard has to do what the government tells them to do, but this isn't what it's about.
My name is Robert Flanders. I was born into the fishing business in the early 20s, and I fished most of my life. I hate to see the corporations taking over the family fishing businesses, and that's exactly what I think is happening. I've been tub trawling, trap fishing, and lobstering, and I've watched things being mismanaged as far as I'm concerned. The business of letting the Russians come in here was unhealthy for our fisheries, and the cod fishing, which used to be a mainstay, has dwindled, moved offshore, and God knows where they've gone.
Thanks, Bob. Do you have any record of public service?
Yes, sir. I was in the Navy for 3 years in the war, World War II, and figured that I done my share for the country, and very, very proud to have been part of it.
Thanks, Bob.
Wind insurance, it's almost $2,000.
That boat belonged to who?
Herbert Slater,
And you say you got how many fish with her?
66.
On a trip to the southeast part?
Beg pardon?
Where did you fish for those ones? Southeast part of the bank or
Oh, southeast of the Green Buoy.
close to the island then? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got you. How long have you been in the fishing business?
How long?
Yeah.
I started when I was 14. Went lobstering till in the summer.
Right.
In the wintertime, I went to school.
I got you.
So I've been going, I went ever since.
And you've done a fair amount of cod fishing?
Yep,
Hook and line?
yep, off the west end of No Man's Land.
I got you. Do you have any statement that you might like to make to the Fisheries Marine Council that's deciding the future of the fisheries here in New England?
Well, I'd have to think about it.
I don't blame you.
Not to sell their license either, because the big boats will buy them all up. I don't think that's fair to the community fishermen.
Have you spent a lot of time doing much hook and line cod fishing over the years?
Yeah, I did a lot of fishing, cod fishing, tub trawling, hand lining off No Man's, off Gay Head, tub trawls in the Sound. There's a lot of codfish around. I don't know what's happened to them, but They're not around now.
Thanks, Eric.
10 men.
They got 7 men aloft there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Wow. Here with Captain Jimmy Morgan. Used to have the fishing vessel the Marion Verna. We're in his little workshop here where he's retired now from the fishing business. And he's a member of the restoration committee here in Chilmark to try and revive and nurture the inshore fisheries for the bay scallops and other shellfishes. Jimmy, do you have any words you might want to send to the New England Fisheries Management Council there at the coming meeting in Portland, Maine?
Well, the only thing that I can say, I think the council has mismanaged everything right from the beginning, giving everything to the big boats and never thinking about the small boats and the communities that are dependent on it. Next thing you know, if there's no small inshore fleet, there won't be any inshore fishery.
I got you, Jimmy.
Yeah, everything that they've done with the haddock, and they made the plans for the codfish. Haven't seen any change. So I don't have any faith in the council whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Thanks, Jimmy.
They get their mind made up what they're going to do, and they don't seem to want to listen to the fishermen. That's about it.
Thanks, Jim. Have any record of public service, military or otherwise?
Yeah, I was in the Russian Marine and a few years in the war, World War II.
I got you. Have you spent your whole life's pretty much been spent fishing? Is that true?
Yep, all my life.
Sword fishing too?
Yes, sword fishing was the fishing I enjoyed the most. All the fishing I've done, the harpooning. We made one trip a long line in, but we weren't too successful. We only had a few hooks, 200 or 300 hooks, but harpoon is the only way to go.
Thanks, Jim.
In this town especially, Christ, they can't afford to buy land. All rich people. I grew up and everybody was poor. We didn't realize it. Nobody told us we was poor except the government did.
Oh, I know. It seems to get tougher every year to make a living at fishing, the way it's being managed.
And it isn't only they blame the fishermen for all the decline of the goddamn fish, but you don't take into consideration the seals and the cormorants and the garbage, you know.
Some nice work there.
That was one of the first ones I made years ago.
And that's a Larson vessel, right? The Christine and Dan.
Yes, Dagbard was the striker, and Louis was the mastheader, and Vianney was the skipper. He tended the line there. He never went up aloft much. He just stayed in the wheelhouse. And
Well, Jimmy, thanks. That's a picture of the Marion Verna in Menemsha, right there. Captain Jimmy Morgan's boat. Menemsha Seafood, Stanley Larson. Stanley, do you have any words you'd like to give in testimony to the New England Fisheries Management Council meeting in Portland, Maine this next week on June 21st?
Well, the only thing I have to say is probably many of you remember what it was like about 30 years ago, thinking back when I was a kid. You could have looked at down this dock and seen 50, 60 boats, swordfish boats, tuna boats, lobster boats, draggers, gill netters. Went on and on and on. Now you look at it, the dock's empty. But you know what they say, It isn't over till it's over, but it's pretty close, I can tell you that much. Goodbye.
The harbor before the West Dock was built. Here's the Coast Guard facility right there. There's a bunch of sword fishing boats right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 topmasts. There's the Coast Guard station and fishing shacks. These small vessels. A couple more sword fishing vessels on the outside. On the Gay Head, the tribe side of the channel. Yep, we're back in Menemsha. There's the weather vane, the swordfish weather vane. These are vats that are used by, this here boat is the Deborah Lee out of Menemsha. This is the Vineyard Buy boat that carries the fish to New Bedford for the fleet here in Menemsha. There's a little dragon fleet down this end. Here's the rest of the dock. Al Gale here in Menemsha. Al, go ahead.
My name's Al Gale. I'm the buy boat that brings fish from Menemsha, Martha's Vineyard to New Bedford, Massachusetts, and I'm opposed to what the council's planning on doing. I'm for the small boats and for the many people, and not for just 1 or 2 or 3 big boats. I think it's a bad plan, and I don't think it's going to work. And hopefully, you guys get the message.
Just disappointed in the way things are going in the fishing industry. We started out with the Magnuson Act, and that was a downhill slide from there on. It was when we lost the 200-mile limit. We put the 200-mile limit in, and they stopped the other boats, but it stopped us from fishing, all American boats from fishing in other countries. And we needed that. We needed to fish from the Grand Banks all the way to New England to make it work. Now we're down, there isn't any codfish, and there's very few yellowtails, and everything's gone downhill since this amendment came in. All these amendments, we started out with one first amendment, and then now we're up to 13. I don't know, probably 14 before we get.
I think it's 16 now,
16
Louis.
now.
This is Captain Louis Larson from Menemsha here at Chilmark. Louis, how long you been in fishing?
Oh, all my life. I went with my father when I was 5 years old, fishing on a little boat, 23-foot boat. He brought us up on a 23-foot boat, cod fishing in the winter and lobster in the summer.
I mean, you remember when we had codfish in these waters?
Yeah, there was a lot of cod fishing. That's what he brought us up on, was codfish just off Gay Head along Noman's, as far as you had to go to get a good amount of codfish. It was a wonderful way of life, and now there is no future for any young person growing up. When I was a kid growing up, I could go do whatever I wanted to do. I was setting conch pots and getting 50 cents a bushel from the boys from Block Island, and now there's no way for anyone to get into the fisheries, unless you buy someone out. And I just think it's a shame that the young people starting out today can't have the same opportunity that America was built on.
Well, right now, the New England Fisheries Management Council is considering several plans, one of which would give 95% of the scallops to some 200 limited access vessels, mostly large boats from the larger ports. 5% for all the other communities that depend on fishing. What do you think of that, Lou?
Oh, I think it's lousy. I think what you're doing, you're driving the little guy out of the business. And that's what our country was built of, was fishermen, small fishing boats making a living and independent life. But I guess we've lost all that now.
Yep.
It's such a shame.
You've got quite a few years of sword fishing too, don't you?
Oh yes, yeah, lots of sword years. We started back in 1947, when after the war was over. My brothers and I were together on the Christina Dam, and
is this your vessel right here? Is that?
Yeah, that's someone took a photograph of me coming in the harbor.
And that's the Mary Elizabeth.
That's the Mary Elizabeth.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been all up and down the coast, the Grand Banks and back?
Oh yes, I fished Grand Banks, and I never did get the Flemish Cap. I was headed to there, and then Bill Rule was just coming from there, and I was on the Grand Banks. I was like, you know, getting 18, 20 big fish a day, and so he came in, we fished together there.
Well, Lou, thanks a lot. We're going to carry your testimony to Portland, Maine on this week.
And over here is Christine and Dan. I know the folks.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Morgan made that painting for me.
Jimmy Morgan made that painting for
Yeah,
you.
he did. We had a old fellow that turned out, oh, I don't remember, he was a harbor master down here.
Yep, and a dory man at work.
Yeah, a dory man at work, and going on another swordfish. That was a good old day.
Thanks, Lou.
Okay, you're quite welcome.
I appreciate it. There's quite a few people on the council I think that you'll know, Lou.
Yeah, I think Rodney Abla, Jimmy Rule,